got a few dates for your diary, and a notice from Ariel, who was due to be here from Haven Hall, but unfortunately she's not very well, so she's asked you to pass on. She's got her dining club on the 6th of October, and she said a number of people signed up when we were there in August. So if anyone's interested, there'll be emails about it. She's got various chefs coming, and the chef this time is a good friend of mine, so I can guarantee that good food. So it's on the 6th of October, so contact Haven Hall if you're interested. There is a couple of events we're arranging for the ladies group. Caroline Hurley at the Calms in Cowes is arranging an evening with one of their S-Bar reps. So anybody who's interested in that, it's on the 7th of November, and there'll be an Eventbrite coming round. It's limited to 20 spaces because it's quite small in there. So if you do want to go, you'll need to sign up fairly quickly, and that'll be coming out. So date your diary. And as a first this year, we're going to do a sort of a Christmassy event, and that's going to be at Keats Cottage in Shanklin. And that's on the 23rd of November. They're going to do for us a wine tasting and 2-course meal, so hopefully it'll be quite nice, something a bit different. And just before we get into the kind of Christmas party season, so I'll be sending that around as well, but just a note for your diary. And then there is another event, if you haven't all heard about it. Dale Howarth has got an event on the 4th of October, and I can vouch for these events. They're really good, you get great value from it, and they always sell out, so if you are interested, let me know and I can send you the link if you haven't already got it. Okay, so some dates. We've got some notices. I'll start with Natasha, our host today. I want to give the first one.
Hello everyone. Hi. I'm Natasha, for those who haven't met. I'm the Managing Director here. So I just wanted to let you know about a few events that we've got coming up. The soonest one is the Harvest Supper, so I'll hand these out. It's just a lovely local food menu. We're celebrating Isle of Wight local food, and we've got some Morris dancers. They're the Bloodstone Morris dancers. They look absolutely terrifying. I don't know really what that's got to do with the harvest, but in any case, it should be quite fun. Anyway, the menu looks amazing, so I'll let you pass that round. Then we've got a Beaujolais evening on the 17th of November with an amazing French menu, and you get to taste the new vintage Beaujolais. We also have the Christmas market coming up at the end of November. If any of you haven't been to our Christmas market, it's local crafts people who are selling all of their some Christmassy gift ideas and things like that in this room and our taste experience and in the courtyard, and that runs over the weekend starting the evening of the 24th of November. And then after that, some of those crafters are going to be based in the room adjacent here for the whole of December, running a pop-up Christmas shop. So we're quite excited that Christmas is going to be really brilliant here this year, and we'll be selling Christmas trees as well. Anyway, early to be talking about Christmas, but yeah, just to let you know about all those things. Thanks.
Lynn, do you want to join us?
Yes, I'll come in front of you. And folks, anybody who doesn't know, I am live streaming. I have got permission from the speaker. Live streaming is what I do. If you've got events or businesses that need to be got out to the world, then please talk to me. I've got various channels. I'm streaming on my All Things Networking because we're networking today. On Saturday I shall be streaming from isleofwight.live page because I shall be at the Isle of Wight parade. You know, it's Isle of Wight Day if anybody doesn't know, Saturday. So I shall be doing that. But also, Natasha was talking about local businesses all getting together. So the main thing I want to say is on your table you will see these. I'm arranging a business expo in conjunction with my son on Friday at Aspire in Ryde, and it's lots of local business. There's still spaces left, and the idea is to show off their businesses to the world, and I have been showing off to the world. I've been live streaming with some of them and pushing it out over wherever we can get the information. We don't only want exhibitors, we want people to come through the doors to see what the other local businesses are doing. We want raffle prizes, we want still more sponsorship. People have been sponsoring batches of leaflets for £10, so if you want your business out there and you want to donate £10, the money is all going to Earl Mountbatten and Aspire. And during the day there will be workshops on marketing, sales and productivity, and networking opportunities, and Aspire's got a wonderful cafe and very, very reasonable. I was in there yesterday or the day before and I bought 2 coffees and 2 pieces of cake, and it's what would have cost me one coffee in one of the coffee shops there, so you know, go and support. They're doing a fantastic job there. Over 2,000 people come through there every week. It's a fantastic community hub now, helping the homeless and all sorts of other groups. So that's me. So please, if you can take these, if you can pass them out. Anybody wants, I've got more leaflets. Anyone want leaflets or posters, please let me know. Thank you.
And then Zoe would like to say.
Oh, it's a bit of a public service announcement, really. How many of you keep hold of client data? You've got client data about your clients' information? You've got their names, their addresses, and things like that? How many of you have heard of GDPR? Right. The GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation that comes in May. Sounds like it's a long way away, but there's a lot of work to do with it. The big headline is that they can fine you, no matter how big or small you are, 4% of your annual turnover for every time there is what they call a data breach. And that could be anything. There are all sorts of things that can happen with that. Basically, what you need to start doing is looking at the information you hold, where you hold it, what you do with it, making sure you've got permission, you're not holding it too long, and that your systems are secure. I am Zoe from Purple Patch PMO, and I do a lot of work with people, processes and planning, hence the reason I've been looking at this for a client. So I just thought I'd share with you. If you want a little bit more information, there's tons of it around, and I can just give you a few hints as to what to look at. So just let me know. That's Zoe at Purple Patch PMO.
You probably know Juliet Chan from the network, and Madeline Peston. And myself have won a grant from Isle of Wight Council to do coaching walks. That's to go and take you out for a walk and do some coaching with you. Juliet's a specialist in life changes and bereavement and loss. Madeline's a specialist in career development, and I'm a specialist in enterprise skills. So we're going to be running these walks from probably December through to April, but we're going to be doing some pilot walks to practice our skills. So if you fancy coming out for a coaching walk, free of charge, we will take you for a walk and do some coaching with you. I'm going to give all the information to Abby, who'll email it round, and it will help us, you know, get it together. We're going to do two types of walk. We're going to do a one-to-one walk, which is very personalised for about an hour and a half. And we're also going to do group walks where we get groups of up to 9 or 10 people and put them into subgroups where they're going to do some peer coaching about the theme. And then one person speaks for about 20 minutes, then another person speaks, and 3 people listen, and the coach leader moves between the two. And then we come back with a cup of tea and a wash-up session. So we're planning to do some of those group walks from the Garlic Farm. And I've been testing the walks out. And also the West Bay Club in the Yarmouth. And then we're going to find another location on the East Ride as well, it's on Owen Ride. So the group walks will be there, and we'll be running those once a month, so in different locations. But I'll give you all the details because we're just developing at the moment. But we're really excited about that. And we're all through training to be lowland leaders. So we're going to be lowland leaders by the end of this. So we can lead you through the lowlands, but not the highlands.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you everyone. Just as a reminder, hopefully you will get the email with the list. So if there is anything you want to put on here, then you can do. If you didn't give notice before, just let me know in advance for next time. So our guest speaker today is the lovely Sophie, who has come all the way from Southampton today and agreed to fill in at short notice for us. I've known Sophie for several years now from networking and various things, and I've heard her speak before, and I know that it's great, so hopefully you'll get some great value from it. So I'll let you take over and go from there. Thank you, Sophie.
Good afternoon. So the kicker thing, I'm not sure about, no, it works, that's fine. So a bit of background, because obviously you don't know me. My name is Sophie, this is me, as a baby. My mum says, so I used to say that I was nice and quiet back in those days, and I've noticed so much. And I'm actually French, came over in 1999, and I graduated from Portsmouth University. I did international relations and politics, which sounded all great. I wanted to do anti-terrorism, and actually, wrong nationality, couldn't. So, never mind though. I ended up in security, so I had a career in security as an area manager, got a few awards, worked with blokes, And as you may imagine, when you're the only woman in a world of men, there's very little you haven't heard before. And I can share a story with you later on, if you see what I mean. I then decided to take redundancy and I set up a company called Sophisticated Singles, which was events for single people, 40 plus, because there was nothing in the South Coast. London, yes, but South Coast, no. So I did things like murder mystery, a night at the museum in Portsmouth, where there was a night tour and it was all a bit different and quirky. But as I was doing these, and I was discussing this just now, I realised that people will be single forever if they've got the wrong mindset. And I retrained in NLP, or Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I started coaching people who were single. Because I could host events if, you couldn't see the wood for the trees, it didn't matter. You were never going to end up with someone. So that's what I did. And I was shortlisted for 3 awards, which were national. Didn't win anything, it was still nice to be shortlisted. Through the self-employed world, I've done all sorts of random stuff, like public speaking, which I never thought that I would enjoy, because obviously, it is a bit nervous to speak to other people who don't know you at all, and we're all scared of being judged, and we're scared of failing, and actually, everybody is capable of doing it. But as part of that journey, I've done a bit of TV and I've done a bit of radio, which has been quite weird. And the first time I did it, when I listened to it, I can still hear the nerves and the vocal cords. It was that obvious, I was petrified. And then the accent comes out and all the rest of it. And recently, so I went from single people to married people saying, I've got a problem with my wife, can you help? Yes. Then it was, my daughter won't talk to me, she's 18 and blah, 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 can you help? Yes. Then I had a nervous breakdown and I started attracting people with anxiety, depression, basically relationship with themselves that wasn't quite working. This nervous breakdown was quite something in my life. It was supposed to happen 10 years prior, but it didn't. I managed to fight it off. Because I removed myself from the situation, but actually it was going to happen because I'm not dealt with the core issues. And for me, the core issues were being a perfectionist and also rejection. So as a result of that, I decided to coach myself. I didn't want to take any antidepressants or anything, and it really made me think, because for 6 months I just sat on my couch and I didn't move, I just looked at the wall, because I didn't want people to know because of what I was doing, so I was scared that I was going to be judged, and now she's not good at what she's doing, she can't help herself, we're not going to go and see her. So I just assimilated all these things, and then I realised that actually, it's a cliche, but life is too really short. And that's one of the reasons why I think I wrote this book, because it was easy little tips that we could all apply and actually have a happy life. So if we're going to die tomorrow, it doesn't matter, because at least we've enjoyed whatever it is we've had. And I personally think that, I've got more to give than just this one book. The next one's going to be on loss. There's more to say about that, but another day. So what I want to talk to you today about is my background. As I've said, is corporate, and I used to spend an awful lot of time with an awful lot of people who were miserable. And I found that if they were happy at home, a lot of the time they were happy at work. Therefore, I didn't have to sack them, I didn't have to discipline them, I didn't have to recruit for some more. It was just happy days. So one of the things that we used to say to us was, if you've got a problem, you leave it at the door. So, if you've got an argument with your wife or whatever, it doesn't matter, it shouldn't affect your work. Well, that's all well and good on paper, but that doesn't happen, does it? We all got issues, whether we're self-employed or actually, who's self-employed here? Okay, and the other half obviously employed. So, whether you're self-employed or employed, you're still going to struggle, and I think it's even harder if you're self-employed, because you might even procrastinate even more. So that's what I want to look at today. I might go past some bits because of time pressures, but just so that, we can learn little things that we can do to actually manage ourselves better, and others if we've got employees. So, first of all, different scenarios. This is a person who's single and happy. They don't care, they don't want anyone, they're quite happy in their own skin, and there you go. This is the happy couple. Again, no real issues, life just goes on and routinely. But then we've got a single person who actually wants someone, because they're craving that companionship. And then we've got the couple who just, they're not talking, or if they are, they just bark at each other, and there's a problem, and they're not dealing with it. And if you're not dealing with it, that rift is going to carry on growing. So, this is us at work when we're not into it, we're just like, oh. And you think about what's happened and it stops you. And it's not just when things go wrong, because I used to dread someone being newly single where I worked, because I knew that we're going to be on dating sites and the focus is on whatever date they're going on tonight. The next day is whether they've got their leg over or not. It's whether they're going to text, not text, oh, she's not texting me back, blah, blah, blah. Mine is not on it, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake, find someone quick, because I can't deal with this. Otherwise you're going to get sacked for meeting someone. But I think what we don't realise is, it affects us more than we know. We know it affects us, but we don't realise just quite how much. So what I want to do before anything else is a bit of etymology, because I like to look at words, because then we can understand them better, and whether actually they mean what we think they do. So first of all is productivity. It says here, the effectiveness of productive effort, especially in industry, as measured in terms of the rate of output per unit of input. For us, a to-do list. Which, let's be realistic, who always finishes their to-do list? I don't, because they're unrealistic. If I put a time frame next to the thing, right, I need 3 days. And that was just like what I intended to do 4 hours. So, productivity is what we think it is. We feel that we've done a lot and we've ticked off everything on that list, but actually, is it really what productivity is? Performance. So the second one is more the one we're looking at. It says the actual process of performing a task or a function. But the first one says an act of presenting a play, blah, 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 blah. But it's an act. And I always remember, and again the last word I'm going to give you, when I was first promoted as a manager, someone said to me, oh, you need to play a perception game. It's how they think you perform. It's not what you actually do. And I always remember thinking, no, I'm not playing that game, because I am who I am and all the rest of it. But actually, what is performance? It is an act. It isn't what we see. When you say to someone, oh, you're not performing very well, no appraisal time, what does that mean? Nothing, actually. And then, this is the real one, it's perception. The way in which something is regarded, understood, or interpreted. So I can't say it. Depends which way you look at it. You look at the 6. Someone will say it's a 6 and argue until they agree in the face that it is, and the person on the other side will say it's a 9. Perception is something that is actually what we've learned through our own experiences, and it becomes our opinion. So for instance, I have a little bit of a bump at the moment, and the reason why I've got a little bit of a bump, and I always share far too much information, I apologise for that, I had a miscarriage back in March, and as a result, got a cyst. They're kind of saying it's endometriosis, so you then have to deal with that. But the thing has not stopped growing, and we're now checking for ovarian cancer, blah, blah, blah. Tomorrow I'm going to hospital to have it removed, so my little bump is going. I see it as that because I know where it is, it's a cyst, it's where it is. I think there's probably a bit of phantom pregnancy going on here. My mum, when she came over in August, all she could say is, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're putting on weight, you're fat. There's no wonder, you know, with what you eat, you're fat. Thanks. Who needs enemies when you've got a mum like that? But what I'm trying to say about her perception, she did not, obviously she doesn't know about miscarriage, but she did not think for 1 minute, and she is a doctor, that there could be something actually wrong with me. Because her perception and her own experience in her head, it was just like about weight. It wasn't about anything else. And that's what I'm trying to say. We look at it from where we are. If I look at you from here, I can see you quite well, I can see you quite well. And if I move here, there's some people I can't see at all now. It's literally where we are. So, with that, what I want to say is that it's a domino effect. Everything's a domino effect. So if you're not happy at home, and you're perceived as an issue, because that's another thing. In couples, sometimes there's a perceived issue that's not actually spoken about. So the domino effect, it just goes. Have you heard of a butterfly effect? But if you've got a butterfly somewhere the other side of the world, it flashes its wings and, you know, causes a tornado somewhere else. And it's the same thing, the ripples are actually endless of one little insignificant thing actually is going to like go and go and go and go and go. So, the main issue is what I call abandonment. Because when you're single and you don't want to be, and you really want someone, and you've been trying and you can't meet anyone, and it's going to be Christmas again, and you're on your own, and all you want is to hold someone's hand or to have someone close to you, you feel completely alone, like that. You're in the middle of nowhere, no one knows, people think you're alright, they're assuming that you're alright, but actually you're hiding it. In couples, you know, I think there's nothing worse than being sat to someone and actually feeling more alone than if you were on your own, because there's a brick wall and you can't talk, whether it's because you've argued or because you've completely grown apart. And the problem is we carry that, we don't actually express it, and that's when it then becomes a problem in our work, because we've got that kind of burden that we're not even acknowledging. So what is the correlation between NLP and relationships? First of all, do you know what NLP is? Does anybody want to explain quickly? Or?
Neurolinguistic programming.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's the it works. It's something that learning the tools and techniques, you can understand yourself better, what makes you tick. But then you can also understand other people. Because a lot of the time we're quite happy to understand ourselves, but we don't want to understand anybody else because we think we're right and we're wrong. So the way to stop the problem is normally because spoken word is actually only 7% of how we communicate. So for instance, if I was like this and saying, I'm really happy right now, you wouldn't believe me because there's no congruency between the way I'm sounding, the way I'm standing, and actually what I've said. Sorry, the rest of my little things. And the best way to do it, if it is for ourselves as opposed to like, you know, a manager with employees, is to actually sit down and actually think of someone looking at us. What do they see? Because a lot of the time we're a lot better at spotting problems for others than we are for ourselves. So if we try to remove ourselves from a position, we can see it a lot better. There is actually a technique in NLP called perceptual positions, where you've got like 4 chairs, in essence. The first one you sit in, let's say you've got a problem with someone. So you imagine that person being over there, and you look at them and you say everything that you can think of that person, and you know, oh, I don't like the way you're standing or sitting, and you did this, and I'm hating you for that, and all the rest of it. Then you turn, you sit in that chair, and you pretend to be that person. So you take the demeanour, you try and do the face a little bit, how it speak, and you look at you. What does this say? How is it coming out? Then you stand here, and you're an observer. You look at both these people. What is the problem here? And then the last one, which is here, you're like on a crane, another observer, looking at the observer, looking at 2 people, who swap them around. And what comes out of that is normally that the person who has a problem can understand the point of view of the other person, and can also see a way forward and what they could do to help them. And I think it is about paying attention. When someone has an obvious problem, they will vent, they will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk until it's out, and that's the boring part because the one on the receiving hand don't want to hear it all the time. But it's only once it's out that you can actually get to the core issue. In fact, go straight to the case study and go past that one because we don't have the time. This one was a self-employed lady, and she came to see me because she wasn't sure she still wanted to be self-employed. She was wondering whether she should go back and get a job, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, the issue was actually a marriage. She'd been married for 35 years, and they weren't arguing or anything, but they didn't know each other anymore because we'd been wrapped up in kids, grandkids, blah, blah, blah. So she knew by heart. She knew what Johnny preferred, how he has his tea, all the rest of it. But real conversation, they didn't know each other anymore. And she felt completely unsupported. So we put a few things in place, and as a result, actually her business grew because the issue wasn't what she thought it was. Go past that one. I'll just tell you that story because that's someone that caused me a lot of problems at work. The reason why there is a fish, if you read my book, you'll find out, but you're going to find out now because I'm going to tell you the story. Basically, this guy was cheating on his wife, right? He'd met her in Australia when he was in the merchant navy, We moved over here, and that would have been 30 years prior. We'd been together 30 odd years. And he got to a stage, I don't even know how he was attracting women, because he had no fingers, he has no toes, he was wearing flip-flops all year round. He wasn't, you know, a picture of attractiveness in any way, shape or form. And anyway, he was picking up all these women. And then one day, because he used to work nights, he wouldn't say to her that, you know, he was working a night. He'd go night fishing, okay? Because obviously otherwise you can ring the phone, blah, 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 so night fishing. I'd come in early, we were all standing outside to smoke, quite heavy in those days, we were all having a fag. And he rocks up, yeah, that was a good night that, and all the rest of it, okay, great. And we're standing there, so the night shift has come in, we're just having a cup of tea before we leave, and the day shift is here, and I've had to check the story, but it wasn't in my head, because someone said it's too unrealistic, but it's true, it happened. He starts rolling around in all the puddles of water, and we're like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I've been night fishing, I need to look like I've been night fishing. So he's rolling around in all these puddles of water, I could have seen it all now, seriously, right? Gets better, just been to Tesco's. Produces smoked haddock. Opens it, right? I'm not joking. You actually want the soap. Covered himself in smoked haddock, and you're like, open your eyes again. This is not true. It was. If he'd put that much effort in his marriage, as he did covering it up, it would have been a different story. Obviously, this split up at some point, because you can imagine, you know, he was too far down the line. But you can imagine how that person, their mind's not on work at any point. And that becomes a problem if you're working with them. So, what is that? The mind and the body. Mind and body are one system. It's one of the NLP presuppositions. And basically, if you think of an athlete, when they train to for a race, let's say, when they train and they imagine in their head that they're running it and they know every hurdle and all the rest of it, if you wire them up, the muscles switch on exactly the same point that they do when they're actually running it. Because we can create the reality that we want in here, and we can feel everything. That's why I'm saying this, to me, is a phantom pregnancy. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. Because I wanted the baby really deep down, although I wasn't sure at the time, and it went. So that is the representation from my brain, probably unconsciously. I've been feeding it and feeding it and feeding it. And tomorrow's going to be hard because, you know, I'm going to have to say goodbye to my cyst, which sounds stupid, but it's become a part of me, unfortunately. So, when we look at problems, that's a problem. We look at the problem. We just like concentrate on the problem. We don't look at the bigger picture. We don't look at, you know, what else there is, and actually, is it a problem? One of the examples I always give is a friend of mine who's currently going through some difficulties in his marriage, and really he ought to have left a long time ago, but each to her own, fair play, he's trying, it's not working, but there you go. But the problem is a lot of the time, what we do is, right, I've got this problem, there's no point talking to her about it, because she's going to say this, this, this and this. So instead, you have a conversation in his head, right? He knows what she's going to say, blah, blah, blah. The problem is, at that point, he started the grieving process. And it might take a while, but he's literally started the grieving process because he's not even told her that there's a problem. So in 5 years' time, when he decides to leave, because basically he's done the anger, the bargaining, the blah, 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 and he decides to leave, and 3 months later he meets someone else, she's going to say, well, hang on a minute, you cheated on me, you must have done, because you already moved on and all the rest of it. And actually, the truth is, he's never told her there was a problem in the first place. And if he had, they could have actually communicated about it properly. So he's focused all his energy on what he sees to be a problem, she wasn't even aware of it. And that happens regularly. Then it's also how we feel. So, as you know, when you're feeling a little bit grumpy, it's very easy to go downwards. In the same way that if you're feeling happy, it's easy to go up because it breeds whatever you're feeling at the time. So if you're unhappy in a relationship, or single, it's easy to go down Because the more you think, oh my God, I'm single, and you're focusing on the fact you're single, as opposed to, oh, I'm free. You're looking at it in a different way. I'm free to do what I like. When I meet someone, then I share. But for now, I'm free. And it's, you know, you see where I'm getting to with this. So how do we manage people and ourselves? First of all, we've got to define what normal is. Conforming to standard, the usual, the typical, the expected. And normal, actually, there's no such thing as normal, because my normal will be different to someone else's normal. I had a book launch back in June, and a friend of mine could not attend. So she said, I'm going to help you out. We're going to do all the food. There was 100 people, so there was a lot of food to do. Blah, blah, blah. And we stopped at lunchtime, I said, what do you want to eat? And she said, cheese on toast. Easy, sorted. But her normal is cheese on toast, not my normal. She toasts with bread, less than me. She puts butter on it. She puts the cheese with no Worcester sauce. She has barbecue sauce, and she takes it out far too early. Me, I'll taste the thing. I'll taste the thing. I'll put the cheese on it. Put Worcester sauce. Put it. Bubbles. Big brown. Happy days. Have that. That's what I mean. I'm normal, and if you came out, I was like, you're having a laugh. Why are you doing this? Her normal cheese on toast is not mine, and we subject ourselves a lot of the time to believing that other people have got it better than us, and is, you know, the normal. Facebook. Don't get me wrong, I like Facebook. I'm not on it as much as I should at the moment, because for business purposes I should be on it more. But actually, we keep on feeding ourselves subconsciously that everybody's life's better than yours. Because there's always, you know, people only put on there what they want to put on there. And we see it as normal. Actually, it's not. There's the next one. What's an expectation? A strong belief that something will happen to be the case. It's also, what is it? Assumptions and definitions, so I didn't put up the other one. An expectation, unfortunately, is a ridiculous thing to do, but we all do it. So for instance, you're going to go home tonight and you're like, I really wish my husband would run me a really nice bath, and he would have cooked for me, and he would have put the washing in, and blah, blah, blah. Then he'd come home, and obviously he hasn't done any of these things, you know, and you'd be pissed off with him, because in your mind you've built up all this stuff. But actually, if you'd said, do you know what, it'd be really nice tonight if you could run me a bath, do the washing, and blah, 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 they probably wouldn't have done it. But we don't say these things. We want them to happen, but we don't voice them. That's a problem. And it's always about getting to the root cause. What we see as a problem is, in 99% of the time, not the problem. The root cause is somewhere else. This is an NLP technique called, well, it's not a technique at all, sorry, it's a presupposition. It's the map has got the territory, which basically means that we develop our own maps through life. So the brain takes in 7 plus or minus 2 things every second, which is not a lot, but it couldn't take in more, because otherwise we would just, like, you know, freeze and we couldn't take it in, it's too much. But these 7 things, there are 7 things that you know, because you've been brought up with cheese on toast, with butter on the bread, for instance. So you will only see what you want to see, in a way, because that's what you can recognise. If I give you an example, there's a guy I've worked with. He went to boarding school, didn't have a close relationship with his mum at all, went to boarding school, and then, that was it really. He has done loads of stuff in his life, but his parents have never praised him. So he can't get a sense of achievement in anything, because he's never felt what pride feels like. He doesn't comprehend it. And this is what I'm trying to say. We look at life from our own perspective. And what we need to do to have better relationships is to go to that person's map and then bring them back to ours. Not so that they can agree with us because we're more, you know, right than they are, but more so that, you know, they can also see our point of view. It's about not, think of an argument. It's always, it gets heated, 2 people in 2 trenches, you're not listening to what that person is saying, not really, because you're preparing the next argument. So you can throw it back. So then you're listening to what they're saying, like, oh, I've got an argument about that. But you're not actually, you're not listening to what they're truly saying and how, if the answer's there, you know, they're telling you what they want, but you're not listening. And with this technique, you get to, like, right, okay, now I understand where he's coming from, And the minute someone feels understood, the more likely to be open to your point of view. So, in work, it's the same thing. That's why, you know, I suppose good negotiators do that sort of thing. So that they get to the person first and then bring them back to them. Doesn't mean we're all going to agree, but at least we've got better understanding. There's always light at the end of a tunnel after all, isn't there? It's like a wing. It goes down, but it goes back up at some point. You can't just keep like hitting down, it's got to go back up. So, the way we speak. Generalisation, which would be, for instance, men cheat. It's a complete generalisation, not all men. Women do it as well. You know what I mean? Deletion is things that we don't want to see. So if we don't see it, we just, you know. So you omit the truth, for instance. Sorry, I'm going to get thrown there, am I? You omit the truth. And distortion is when you see it your way and you distort the words that you use so that it is beneficial to you. Okay. Reframing, putting it literally in a different frame, in a different place, so that you can see the situation of a person in a different light, in essence. So I'm going quick here. The upshot of it is, it's communication. Voicing everything. And for instance, the miscarriage thing, I know it affects people. When I say it, I'm always a bit careful because I'm thinking, it could affect people, but it's part of my therapy. Talking about it helps me. And also, I found it's such a taboo, and it's something that I do want to help people with, because actually, when I first mentioned it to someone, it was a networking woman, and she told me the story of a friend, blah, 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 who had a miscarriage, and, you know, she got on with her life, and 25 years later, he came back and bit her on the arse, basically, because she'd not dealt with it. And we spoke about it, blah, 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 and she then gave me a hug when we left, and she said, oh, by the way, that friend of mine, that was me, and I've never told anyone. And yet she's someone who's very open, and I was quite shocked by that she would not have actually mentioned it. I just want to leave you with a nice little story here, the teddy bear story. If you think of a teddy bear and a 2-year-old, it's your favourite teddy bear, right? And every time you see a teddy bear, they're happy, they laugh, they smile. There's always good things happening from the teddy bear. What happens if you forget the teddy bear somewhere? Or if he gets lost? What happens? The child will cry, have a tantrum, life's over, anxiety, because, you know, all of a sudden that thing is not there. What input has the teddy bear had on this? None. None at all. All of it has come from the child. The feelings of happiness or the feelings of sadness. And if we look at the teddy bear and we replace it with relationships, bank accounts, jobs, it's exactly the same thing. It's what we're projecting it to be. So on that note, I will pass the fishbowl round, and if you want to put your business card in it, and then you can win a copy of the book, signed, if you so wish. There you go. Thank you very much.
So we ladies are the Isle of Wight business ladies. We meet once a month down here at the Garlic Farm, usually towards the end of the month. It's always a Thursday, and we have a great time, lots of networking. So if anybody else wants to know more about it, please drop a comment in and we'll let you know. So now, back to my life. So thank you everybody for watching in, and please, if you find any value in this talk, then please share it with others. Bye for now.